Hello, and welcome back to another Elden Ring Rune Level 1 run. Uh, I think the plan for this one is just going to be going through Ronnie's questline and progressing that a little bit further, so going through Nokron and kind of exploring those areas. And then also trying to aim for getting the Shield Talisman. That is located up in Lyondell City, uh, and that basically is going to be our prevention against getting one shot from most bosses, since it gives us massively reduced damage whenever we are at max HP. To do that, we basically just need to get our second shard bearer defeated, which I think I'm going to go for Rennala, and then after that would be defeating the Draconic Tree Sentinel that's located outside of Lyondell. After that, it should just be a straight shot to running and grabbing the talisman. Other than that, I think that's what I'm going to be shooting for first. Alright, so now down here below the castle. Should find one of the tree spirits down here. Let's see. There it is. Oh. And I'm dead. Ugh. Alright. It hurts. Yeah, let's try this again. It's not just like die immediately this time. Sticking to its back is generally pretty safe. It doesn't have too many attacks that it can do behind it. And then obviously, you do not want to be locked onto this fight at all. It's like one of the few times whenever you're far away from it. Who's a riposte? No, that's not good. Yeah, I was a bit too close to that. There's another riposte. There we go. Too bad. Sticking around to its left side is generally a little bit more safe than its right, just because whenever it does the tail swing, it'll curl around towards that side, so you can basically be on the get around it without having to dodge. So when exploring around Nokron, I kind of come across this, the Dragonkin Soldier. I'll just take it out real quick. This isn't the strongest one of the two, so it shouldn't be too bad to fight it. A lot of times staying near its legs is a lot better. Because if you can get into a certain spot, its legs can just drag you along and then you can just keep swinging. Which is happening right now. Just getting between this basically back leg area. Oh, slipped out of it. If you can get in that back leg area, you can basically be dragged along whenever he turns. Pretty sure it works for both sides. And then, obviously swinging a lot means you can get a lot of riposte really quickly. This one doesn't have a phase 2 like the other one does, so it's a lot easier to kind of like use this strategy. Let's see if I can get back. There you go. Ah. That doesn't work. You can basically just stay out in front. It's a little bit more dangerous, but it can still hit them. That was a charge attack though, I guess. No. Yeah. And he does enough damage that any one hit will kill you. So it's probably best to use the tier to prevent you from instantly dying. You know, at least get one hit of prevention. Oh my god, how did I miss? You want to just like wait a little bit on a lot of the attacks, because then you can make sure that he doesn't do that. Dude. so hard to hit him. Especially since his stomach is just completely immune to damage. I just don't want to preempt where his hands are going to be. You can try to punish that. How did I not die from that hit? I'm surprised. Actually, it wasn't an instant kill. Gonna be pretty far away from him when he does this. Back into the corner there. Oh, there's just no hitbox there. No hitbox. Safe enough to swing. Stick around to his left side. A lot of the attacks either can't hit you or they'll put you in a better spot to make sure you hit them. Surprised I haven't gotten a second boss yet. It's blocked by his arm. That was kinda not good. I was stuck there, I couldn't get away from him. There's always this right arm that tries to drag around for like a follow-up hit, or technically his left, alright. For the lost. Yeah, there we go. But it's his left arm, or your right, will always be the one that like comes through with a follow-through. So if you follow to his left side, you basically can always be outside of range of that follow-through hit, and you can use that as an opportunity to get some sort of hit in without being punished. So just kind of like stick to his left side. There's also a second Bell-Bearing Hunter that's located here at the Church of Vows. It can be taken out the same way as the first one by just parrying most of its attacks. Shouldn't be too bad. It does have more damage than the first one. Oh, wrong thing. So, it's gonna be a little bit more punishing. But a little bit more damage than the first one, so any one miss will lead to death. Got hit once. It was a dumb hit. But, not too bad. There we go. That should give us a lot of the meats and stuff like that, so we can get like the turtleneck meat for stamina recovery. It's always beneficial to have a lot of stamina because since you can't level up things like endurance, you really have to rely on stamina recovery speed to make sure you don't run out of stamina. And also to explore when you come across this, the Omen Killer. It's located in the village of the Albinarchs. See where are the dogs. Right there. Try to use fireballs to get rid of them first. Oh, man, I could not see him where he was. I lost sight of him. Focused on dealing with the dogs. let's try this again. Might be able to actually get to the dogs first if I go down this direction. So that whenever we fight him, we only have to fight him and not his dogs. And because we were hidden from them, the fire bombs actually just one-shot the dogs. Whereas if you got into combat, damage would lower a little bit, and you would have to hit them with something else. Alright, well now that the dogs are done, just fight this dude. Jeez. Oh my god, I got this tiny little ledge. Why? It's completely hidden if you are looking at it from the back. It's fun running here this time instead. This dude can be backstabbed at least. Alright, step out of the fire. Man, he turns fast with it. It's two in a row that I just missed. If you charge heavies after they backstab or riposte them, if you charge it immediately, a lot of times you'll swing while they still have iframes. So delaying the charge a little bit till after they start getting up means that you can land it as soon as they get out of their iframes. After exploring through the academy and trying to get to the second shard bar of Rennala, you have to come through the Red Wolf of Radagon. So just get that done. It's an ridiculously high HP. Oh. Okay, that is lucky. I don't want to just be patient until after he makes an attack. Like something like that can be punished pretty quickly. This time to jump. Oh, that almost killed me. waste of a use of that flask. You used it when I thought I was far enough away, and then you just closed the distance really quickly. Oh my god. He just times it so well, where he jumps right before any of the magic hits. So like, I expect to dodge the magic first, and then he just hits me. And staggers me into the magic. Why did I press the jump button? Oh my god. Either the magic would have hit me or the melee would have hit me. Too bad. Most of it's just waiting for him to do one of his melee attacks, and after that you can get... I generally went for a jumping heavy, just to get as much damage as I can. You can't really have time to swing twice after that opening, but if you do a jumping heavy you have enough time to hit and be safe afterwards. And now, at the end of the academy, we get to Rennala, which would be the second shard bearer. This will allow us to get access into the capital city, now that we have 2 shard bearers. But this boss fight's kind of interesting.
little Calva. I'll soon birth thee anew, a sweeting, fresh and pure.
Okay. Now let's just find. Let's see. Actually, help Lose use throwing knives for this first part. So it looks like you only need to deal a hit of damage. You don't actually need to kill the one with the spells. Yep. Gosh. Oh no. The chandelier is gonna fall. Where's this last one? Good thing is at least it doesn't seem like there's a time limit on. Oh, there it is. The time limit on trying to find these. It's just to find them whenever you can. Looks like it's probably gonna take us. Yeah, it's gonna take us 3 breaks or 4, whatever.
Time to be born anew.
There it is. Oh, great. I did not see that coming. Didn't realize the entire bookshelf there. Let's try this again. Grab the dagger this time so that we don't have to stay near as long swinging, and we can just run around a bit farther, faster. What we need to do is actually just touch him, so.
Come, sweetings. Time to be born.
Oh, what in the Alright, so the globe decided to turn into a projectile as soon as I rolled into it and hit me, staggered me. Fun. There we go. There's 2.
My beloved, have no fear. I will hold thee. Patience. Ye will be countless born, forever and ever. Upon my name is Rani the Witch. Mother's rich slumber shall not be disturbed by thee. Foul trespasser. Send word far and wide. Of the last queen of Caria, Rennala of the full moon. And the majesty of the night she conjureth.
She can be staggered though, so that makes it a lot easier to deal with her.
Thy fate lieth under my moon.
I fat-fingered the swing button. I pressed dodge and fat-fingered the button. It's not even using the same finger. I guess I just squeezed strong. That's it.
Thy fate lieth under my
I dodged with it just because of the boomerang, and that just leads to me getting hit by the projectiles. I can roll a lot better, but I just had a really bad start to it. Bloodhound Knight. He's fast, so it's really hard to get around him.
Thy fate lieth under my moon.
Having multiple attacks or spells cast at one time because of the lingering makes it really hard to just dodge both of them at the same time. Oh my god, why? Shit. These things are gonna... Yep. Where was it? Oh my god. I see you back there. Really? Yeah. Kinda just stopped right in the middle. Oh my god, I thought she was gonna do a boomerang instead. Got straight into the hit. Fire for a little bit of extra damage.
Thy fate lieth under my
Die
moon.
instantly. So you get caught by one. So many status buffs that I have to apply, it's like, ugh. Where, dude, it's just like the gimmick of trying to find these dudes for the first time is like, okay, that's cool, it's kind of interesting. It's search for the missing child, and then, you know, after the 50th time, it's like, I hate it. It's the same problem as why Deacons of the Deep is one of the worst enemies of DS3, is the same reason why at least the phase 1 of this boss fight is like one of the worst boss fights of this game. At least phase 2 is interesting. Like, I do really like phase 2. It's just phase 1 is just a fucking bore.
Thy fate lieth under my moon. Come, O sworn giant. Thy fate lieth under my moon.
I fat finger the button again. Why do I keep doing that? Wolf is still here.
Thy fate lieth under
How
my
is the
moon.
wolf still there? I fight this, the less I like it.
Thy fate lieth. Born anew. Come, Oath-sworn giant.
It's a good phase one. Phase one, at least. I don't like this dragon. I like this giant.
Come, Oath-sworn dragon.
Just cap off, because I know one unlucky event and it's just, oh great, and I'm probably gonna die. Okay, that's annoying. Stop casting spells while your wolves are out.
Come, Oath-sworn giant.
Sentinels really do last for a long time. Just let me attack you. Oh my god, this boss fight, man. I just can't do anything. She's like, okay, I'm gonna summon a dragon every time.
Come, O sworn giant.
Yeah, it's kind of like, let's just summon something that's like great. Oh, great, she does the moon while this is still out. Yay. I can't even get within range. And fuck this. I can't even get within range without getting just slaughtered by everything that she sends out. Oh my god, just let me attack you. Just for once. Her answer to that is no. Why is the wolf still out? Why is the wolf still out?
Come, O sworn dragon.
And I reached the edge of the arena. Okay. This one is the worst because he's so fast when he does stuff like that.
Come, O sworn giant.
Why? Just why? And great.
Oh, little Rani.
God.
My dear daughter.
It's done.
Weave thy night
That took way more attempts than I wanted it to. And every single time I fought that fight, I wanted to fight her less and less. Oh my god. It's literally just the phase one is just annoying. Like it's an interesting gimmick, but it's just that, a gimmick. It's not actually good content, I guess you should say. But it's just annoying going through that first phase after you've done it for the hundredth time or something like that. It's just really annoying trying to go through that just to get to that second phase. The second phase is fine, like, it just got a little annoying because of the patience I had to have, especially after dealing with phase one, but it...
To be better born anew.
This is just one of the fights that's just a pain in the ass to deal with on a low damage run. Like, if I was doing... Whenever I did my original run and I had actually decent damage, this fight was fine. I actually thought it was really cool. Especially in phase 2, but dealing low damage and being able to be one-shot by... basically, you're two-shot by every single attack. It just kind of removes the fun.
Is it thy wish to become? Be not alarmed.
Well, it's over. And with that means that Lionel Capital is open, and that means there are a few talismans that I want to go grab. Now, after defeating Rennala, after getting your second Shard Bearer, you now can defeat this Draconic Tree Sentinel and actually gain access into the city. There's some pretty good talismans that are located in the city that we need. So, we need to take out this boss first. Sneak around, at least get a first hit in, if he lets me. This is probably going to be really bad comparatively. I'm just going to use this immediately. This is definitely one where it can lead to very easy insta-kills. My HP is not high enough to deal with most attacks. Yeah, see, that was just the AoE, and I already almost died. And an actual swipe, it actually kills me. Yeah. I do very minimal amounts of damage to this boss, and I will die in pretty much any one hit, so this is going to take quite a few attempts to get through, but it doesn't seem like there's any like specific like weakness that he has. His attacks can be parried, but they can't be riposted. He isn't really weak to any type of elemental damage, at least that I know of, and he doesn't seem to be weak to. He seems to be pretty strong against bleed, so I don't think that'll work much either. What you can see now is my final attempt at fighting this boss. This fight took me 57 attempts to fight. This is way more than any other boss that I've fought in this game. The previous one being Margit with only 17 attempts. This one took me around 2 hours to try to beat with all those attempts, and the final run took me around 5 minutes. Um, this fight had a big problem of being a one-shot kill. Any single hit that I took basically was going to kill me. Having the Carillion tier and having at least a shield that could defend some attacks saved me a few times from instantly dying, but it I couldn't make any mistakes in this fight. And I think this is the start of what is expected of most fights in the future, is that I can't make any mistakes. Um, I went through many strategies in trying to fight this boss. I started off with basically just using the buckler shield and trying to parry, but quickly realized that that didn't work nearly as well as I expected. The shield has no defenses, and if you get hit and you mess up the parry, you are guaranteed death. The shield cannot save you from anything. So I quickly switched to the Scorpion Shield and had an Ash of War with a golden parry on it. This basically allows a 100% physical damage reduction shield, so I have a chance of actually surviving a hit if I barely mistime the parry. And then the golden parry allows me to have a wider range of where I can actually land it. So it's a lot easier to actually land the parries. Um, this just took a lot of attempts. I had to figure out exactly where the timing was. A lot of it was basically just figuring out when that was. Um, at around like 30, 25, 30 attempts, I had a large problem with just forgetting where he had parry frames and stuff like that. It took around like 10 attempts after that where I just could not figure out how to parry him. It was just failure after failure, failing to parry every single one of his attacks. Um, I mainly went through it along with using that and the Claw Talisman for after I make a parry, he gets staggered, and then you're able to basically get in two jumping heavy attacks. This would allow you to deal as much damage as you can, and also allow you for a stagger that would give you more damage. Um, Other than that, the entire plan of this was parry, jump heavies, and repeat. Um, the one that I went for the most was whenever he jumps and swings over his head. That one seemed to be the easiest parryable attack, and it worked most of the time. It's the one that I got the most consistent, and I stuck with that. I didn't try to overpush and parry some of the other ones that I started doing at the beginning, but I just try to play as patient as I could and make sure that I guaranteed victory. A lot of his attacks are pretty slow and pretty easily dodgeable, but will do a lot of damage. So it's just not making any mistakes. Um, Now, later on in this fight, when I started actually getting him low and getting him to a like near death, I started realizing that I was going to actually run out of FP. The golden parry requires 4 FP to actually use it. And so you can see that whenever I get him down to around a fifth or maybe lower of his HP, I run out of FP. And because of that, I actually forget where his parry frames are. Um, I managed to survive and I managed to figure out where they were, but that could have easily led to my death. And I think the one thing that I would have changed in this is to actually switch out one of my flasks to an FP flask. Healing wasn't as useful in this fight because obviously everything's a one shot, whereas if you run out of FP, it's going to be a lot harder to parry, especially since the Scorpion Shield is not the buckler parry, so it has less parry frames than the buckler. Um, Now, another thing that I also encountered when coming through this fight was nerves. I generally experience this whenever you get a boss that's super difficult and has taken me this amount of time down to low HP. I start to like look at his HP bar and think to myself, is this the run? Am I going to actually beat it? Or am I going to mess up and just have to do all of this over again? I'm so close. Um, so I definitely didn't feel it too bad in this fight, but the feeling of that possibility of failure after a super long run, being 5 minutes at this point, kind of started to seep in. And it wasn't as much of a problem for this fight, but I can start seeing this become a much bigger problem for fights later down the line when bosses start getting really, really hard. I remember bosses in the previous Souls games, once I started getting towards the end game, these bosses took me many days instead of just a few hours to beat, just because of the amount of HP and the amount of damage that they're able to do. This game, I feel like, is a step above all of the others in terms of difficulty, and I think that problem is only going to get worse. I think that's something that I will probably need to fix in future runs. Um, but other than that, I think if I can get my nerves under control, I think boss fights should be able to go mostly smoothly. Something that I had to do to actually keep my nerves in check towards the end of this fight was actually just turn on something that was going on in the background, whether that be some sort of music or some sort of video that I was just listening to in the background. That helped me basically just keep my mind focused on something else and not think about the nerves that could come arise in this kind of situation. Doing that allowed me to kind of just keep level-headed and make sure that I was actually able to fight properly. After this run finished, I was completely ecstatic. Like, I didn't have any feeling until like a few seconds after, just because this took me forever to beat. And it's a fun boss, but just having the possibility of any attack can one-shot you and just end it there, is just a whole nother feeling of terror, honestly. It's just there's just something different about the possibility that any one mistake can just lead to the end. And but now that this boss fight is over, it's mostly just time to head on to the others. I think most of them will be very similar in regards to this fight. I think this is probably what the norm will be for basically every boss that I'll fight in the future. Um, and the attack patterns of this boss were actually very simple comparatively to most other bosses, so I think he might actually start getting worse. Oh my god. Uh, that took I don't know how many attempts. Oh my god. Well, now that that guy is dead, we can now access the city and we can go for the shield charm that should prevent us from dying in a single hit. What's our HP? Oh, Oh, that's our mana. I was looking up there and I was like, why do we have no HP? As that's our mana. But anyway, hopefully from now on, bosses will no longer be insta kills until we get obviously to like very very end game. Then it may be just insta kills. But I think with the fact that the charm gives us 50% like resistances, like 50% DR to all resistances when you're at max HP, it should be like pretty hard to get insta killed. And located here on the Coliseum at the top of Lyondell City is the Shield Talisman. This talisman basically allows you to increase your defenses by around like 40% whenever you're at maximum HP. This is extremely vital for these types of runs because bosses do a massive amount of HP compared, or massive amount of damage compared to your HP pool. You need to have this charm active at all times or else you will get one shot from any bosses, especially after you've gotten to this point where you can actually grab the charm. Um, but now that we have that, at least the next few bosses should be a lot more manageable since they shouldn't be able to just instantly kill me and healing will actually become useful again. Other than that, I think that's all that I had planned for at least this part. Next time, I think I will be going for continuing down Ronnie's quest line, finishing that out, and trying to see if I can get to the areas that are accessed through those, exploring the underground caves and stuff like that. And then I think it's just going to be getting a few more items and a few more weapons that might be useful for taking on the later game bosses, specifically Godfrey, which will give us our last talisman slot, and then Morgott, which will be very interesting. But I think those are what my goals will be for next time, but I think that is where I will leave it off for now.